Hey, Mom, I find it interesting that you refer to the Weekly World News as the paper. The paper contains facts.
This paper contains facts. And this paper has the 8th highest circulation in the whole wide world. Right? Plenty of facts. Pregnant man gives birth. That's a fact. Here it is, look. Look at this. Mrs. X, the honeymoon murderer. She marries men under fake identities, and then she murders them. Now, she's murdered 3 men already. Look, victim number 1 was a lounge singer. Victim number 2, a Russian martial arts expert.
No.
And she's also killed a plumber named Ralph Elliott. And her whereabouts are unknown.
Chris Scalzo here with
Matt Howell. And this week on the first run, we're back with Christoper Nolan telling us one of the greatest stories ever told. What kind of a spin is he going to put on it, Chris? How woke is he going to get with this thing, with the Odyssey? I mean, I don't want my 2,000-year-old stories changed one iota, Chris.
Yeah, I know. It's a very traditional thing to... You have to stick with the way unlike, the story itself that has changed, I'm sure,
just
hundreds of times over 3,000 years.
Sure.
But
I mean, I want all my Greeks to have American accents, even the British actors putting one on. So
exactly.
That's what I need. And then Chris is going to give you the big rundown on physical media. And then we have a couple things, extra things for you, sprinkled in there throughout the show. So we got a good time tonight, right?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
This is the first time we've recorded at night for a little while. We switched to afternoons for a bit, which I think works. I think the energy is a little higher.
It does.
So I have mainlined some cocaine to try and keep myself really pumped.
Wow. Not even up
the
not some booger sugar, just straight to the vein, huh?
I don't have time to waste.
Gotcha.
Speaking of which, here's the Odyssey.
Odysseus. Don't you remember? Thunder. Fire. Death.
I remember. A wife. A son. Home.
The Odyssey. The second time this story has been adapted in the past 2 years, actually. Roberto Pasolini did it featuring Ray Fiennes and Julia Binoche just in 2024, a film that I did not see.
I saw it.
How was it?
It's not bad. It really more focuses on, his landing back on Ithaca and dealing with the suitors. It doesn't really give much of the whole journey.
No Cyclops? No...
Not that I recall, no.
That's disappointing.
It is.
Is it more of a character study?
You know what? Funny enough, it is. It is. Very much so. So, Chris, for the people who have never been to 7th grade English, why don't you tell us what the Odyssey is about?
So Odysseus, he is the king of Ithaca, but also a general for, I am blanking on the guy played by Benny Safdie.
Agamemnon,
which is a very famous name as well. No, I love too. One of my favorite things, I was going through the stuff online about this, and some guy was like, and how bad is the script? There's a guy who teaches somebody, and his name is, they call him Mentor. How lazy do you have to be? And someone points out, like, that's the origin of that word, right? So anyway, Odysseus has been away for a decade, and from the Battle of Troy, right? We get to see the Trojan horse, we get to see all that stuff, and eventually he is trying to finally make his way home. And meantime, with Penelope, the queen, holding on at Ithaca as long as she can because she's being pressured to remarry. So Ithaca will then have a king because the people from the sea are always threatening, right? There's always this distant horror in the future that may be coming to conquer, as well as other people trying to just do bad stuff. And then you have, of course, Spider-Man, Tom Holland, who plays the son, who is desperate to prove himself, convince his father's still alive. And then, I mean, Matt, I feel like, I don't know, we could spend the entire time just recanting or
Recapping
the story, recapping story. I don't know what. See, it's the problem when I record this late at night. This is the problem.
I just like to point out it's 9:30, folks. That's a bunch of old men talking. I think it's here.
Well, as Junior Kimbrough would say, I'm an old man. So, yeah, it's basically the story of Matt Damon as Odysseus trying to make his way home to then potentially fend off these suitors, reclaim his throne, and all the magic and adventure that he encounters on his way home.
All right.
Wow, that's much better.
Yeah, that was very succinct. I like it.
Thank you.
Right. So I have a couple questions for you, Chris, but I think I'll start with this one.
All right, I'm going to give you 2, maybe 3 tops.
Okay, cool. Is this Chris Nolan's greatest spectacle?
Ooh, okay. So I hate this question because we're dealing with recency bias. I'm inclined to say yes, though I do struggle with certain parts of this film. But I have kind of issues with most of his movies. Particularly, he seems to struggle with nailing the landing a lot. So, and we'll talk about this a little bit later because we are going to do a rank 'em. Matt and I are going to fight it out on Letterboxd and figure out what the definitive list of Christopher Nolan films are. But factoring recency bias, I'm going to say yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with you. I mean, it's. I will say this: I saw it in IMAX. It was really annoying. Movies do not get sold out where I'm from, and they were every show on the weekend was basically sold out. So I had to move it to Monday.
Oh yeah, I booked my ticket like 2-3 weeks ago,
and I didn't, just thinking it would be okay, and I was wrong. And
the biggest hit of the year so far? Well, I don't know. I guess you'd have to say Obsession, probably Dollars for Donuts is the biggest hit of the year.
Yeah.
But this thing's doing gangbusters, as the kids say.
Yeah. Well, I will say, as far as spectacle goes in IMAX, this movie is deafening. My watch kept telling me that you're hitting over 90 decibels and you're going to, have temporary hearing loss if you don't, if you are exposed to this for more than a half hour. And this is a 3-hour movie, folks. So I think I got more than those 30 minutes in.
I'm concerned.
Yeah. See, we should be. We're getting old. Hearing loss is no joke. But I think, it is definitely if you want to call it a sword and sandals epic spectacle of the highest order. Now, my other question is this. This movie is very creepy and very suspenseful. Is this as close to a horror movie we're going to get from Chris Nolan?
Possibly. I don't know. I could see him leaning into doing some kind of gothic haunted house or some, I don't know, Irish kind of folktale horror film. This is the closest we've gotten. Absolutely. I'm not going to box him in and say that this is all we're ever going to get from him, but this is the closest I think we've gotten as a horror film from Nolan for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, Insomnia obviously has its moments,
right?
But yeah, I would think so.
All right. Very good. So, I mean, what else? Why don't you just tell me what your thoughts were on? Because I'm sure you have a lot of thoughts on this film.
Matt, the first line I wrote when I walked out of the theater, and again, that was exceptionally high in recency bias, was, I don't like to throw around the term masterpiece, the Mona Lisa, the Colosseum, David Bowie's Low. And now do I say Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Just under 3 hours. And for me, not a wasted moment, not a wasted minute. And I ask you, can you figure out, Matt, when did I get emotional watching this film?
When they threw his loyal dog on the dung heap.
Not so much that, but when he finally returns, his dog recognizes him, staying alive for 20 years, because he knew his owner was still alive, to finally get one last glimpse of him, to then die. That's it. And I would say, too, I was surprised and shocked by the emotional heft of this film. It really, I did not anticipate that. And the moment we have when, so, okay, typical Nolan fashion. We jump around a little bit with its narrative structure. We don't have it's a non-linear narrative, which he's kind of famous for, right? You have the first film he did Following, and then of course Memento. I mean, and let's not, I don't want to even talk about Tenet. But which I think is really interesting about this film that I loved, is that, and I'm stealing this because I'm going to play a little clip later, though I agree with this, but you're going to hear it in a minute too. But I do want to reiterate it here. Is that Nolan introduces us to Odysseus as like a mythical being, this thought, right? This presence, not so much as a human being for the first chunk of the film. And it's not until as he goes through his trials and deals with all these things, when he finally reunites with Penelope and asks her, like, can I ever truly come home after all the horrors I've seen and all the horrors I've committed, all these things, right? And then we get now the true view of what happened in Sparta and all the things that he was a witness to and or responsible for as he walks around with the chaos and the madness and the horror of the soldiers burning things, assaulting people, raping women, murdering children, all this stuff. And he is taken aback by the horrors that he is responsible for. And it's crazy to me how, and I think incredibly sad, is how we continue to repeat these things even 3,000 plus years on, right? Even the current state of affairs now. I didn't anticipate Nolan's film to be as prescient and as timely as it is, adapting an over 3,000-year-old song, a story, because that's how they would share stories back then. 'Cause it's easy to remember songs, right? And then you have the lyrics per se with the poem, whatever how you want to put it. But that's how the stories were relayed to people, because also a lot of the populace were illiterate. So that's how these things roll. But seeing the impact and power and horror of imperialism, and when he realizes all of that, I really got emotionally choked up, Matt. It was I think he handles that moment incredibly well. And maybe one of the best things he's ever committed to celluloid. Mm-hmm. It was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that scene when he's talking to, Penelope, and he's sitting there looking at his son and seeing all these suitors, eating his food and drinking his wine and, tormenting his servants. It kind of all, like a really good movie became a great film, right? And then I think this is really going to help it on repeat viewings, having seen that scene, because then you can kind of go back and watch the rest of it with that being, that coloring and that filter of everything that's kind of before it. Because, a lot of it is, especially when it starts, I think it's a little disorienting when it starts, right? Especially since they spend so much time with Anne Hathaway and Tom Holland, and you don't see, Matt Damon really at all for like.
Well, that's the point.
No, I understand that's the point.
He's purposely doing that.
Right. I get it, but it kind of puts you on an uneven footing, and then when you finally do get to that point, it's kind of, it doesn't feel like the story you should be engaging with, and he kind of pulls you in, as we go through, and then he gets to that scene, and then he goes all John Wick on everybody towards the end, right? But that piece right there, I think, makes the entire film from really good to great.
Yeah, I know Damon's wanted to helm, really be the lead in a Nolan film for a very long time. And for him to be able to do it with an adaptation of the Odyssey as Odysseus, I mean, I can't, at this point, if I was Damon, I'd consider retiring, right? I mean, I don't know what role would be bigger or better for him at that point. Now, as I said earlier, I think sometimes he struggles with sticking the landing. Here, that is not the case at all. But one thing I think I do struggle with, and I'm curious for your thoughts on this, I don't know if he does a good enough job portraying Odysseus as this arrogant soldier, this guy who's laissez-faire about people's lives and stuff like that. I think like the only scene where that comes across is when they escape the Cyclops and he decides to shoot with the arrow anyway, right? As like a revenge for killing his men, and also to say, listen, I beat you, right? I'm better than you, which then results in horrific consequences for some of the remaining people under his charge. That's like the only moment in the film for me that shows that he becomes a changed man by the end of the film. That's, I think, one of my issues with it. I don't think he does enough to show him to be just like an arrogant kind of jackass, kind of not such a great guy until he has that moment in Sparta.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair, right? But I think it's kind of a slow thing. I mean, you have, the various things that they get in they come across, they land at a village and the village burns itself as opposed to letting them take it, right? And, because they think they're these mythical people from the sea who are just these conquerors and destroyers. And you kind of go through the different pieces of it, right? Then there's Cersei, and then there's like, the sirens and the, Scylla and whatever, I forget what the name of the whirlpool is called. But you have all these kind of events that happen, and he's kind of breaking down a little bit more each time. And then you also have this kind of through piece with, Charlize Theron as Calypso, the Lotus Eater, right? And that kind of all is kind of coming back around as well. So I think, even with a 3-hour film, I think working in the limitations of having to get all of these kind of literally epic parts into the film, and at the same time making him a character while you're also kind of flashing back and forth between him and what's going on in Ithaca, I think he does about as good a job as you can.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I mean, because we're almost 3 hours in. There's a lot of ground to cover, right? So, again, I think it's a minor critique. I think for me, I think the end results are so satisfying, even without the but the action set piece, the John Wickification at the end of the film, right? And then the realization that they are the people from the sea. They are the ones, So I don't know, just all around, really, Matt, for me, fantastic stuff, and I think so far it may be my favorite film of the year so far. Again, we are dealing with recency bias as always, but also too, I'm also very excited how well this did. I was able to see a 70 millimeter screening. Now, there's only a dozen IMAX 70 millimeter screens in the country. There's an arrogance to Nolan about that. I think that here's my preferred version for you to see this film that so few people will have an opportunity to see it in. Like, I could have gone and seen it. I would have to have driven to Orlando. Some people, there isn't one even in their state, let alone, So, but I got to see it in 70 millimeter here at the Sunray Cinema. Originally, I had booked my ticket for the 70 mil. They actually had it at the AMC in Veterans. Then I saw online a lot of people complaining that it was like slightly sped up, like a 1.2 speed or something like that. And people had complained. They said, well, that's just the 70 millimeter experience, which scared me off. And I knew that Sunray was doing it. So I went there. Presentation was fantastic. It was great to see it there as well. But, yeah, it's exceptional. I want to transition, Matt. Do you have anything else to say about that? I wanted to spend a minute talking about the music. Another thing I really appreciated about it.
No, go ahead. Move on to the score.
All right. So after working with Hans Zimmer for years, Nolan has shifted to working with Ludwig Göransson. He scored his previous two films, Tenet and Oppenheimer. He always brings us something I think really interesting, and I want to play this little clip I pulled from Instagram from an Emily on Film. I will link to her in the show notes as well, but I think this is a perfect distillation of my thoughts.
Every cue on the soundtrack is named after a character, and they're ordered by when that character is introduced in the film. The cue titled Odysseus doesn't appear until near the end of the album, because even though we're introduced to him from the beginning, this is the moment he finally returns to Ithaca and gets to tell his own story. But my favorite piece of musical storytelling is in the Trial of the Bow / Vengeance. As Odysseus attempts to string his bow, Ludwig recalls that 4-note leitmotif, but this time we only hear the first 2 notes, then the first 3 notes. That final note is withheld. And in music theory, that final note would be called the tonic, or the point of harmonic resolution. It's literally the feeling of arriving home. And only when Odysseus successfully strings the bow is when you hear that tonic, synchronized with the pluck of the bowstring. So satisfying. And I think it's a beautiful example of how the score mirrors the narrative. Odysseus doesn't receive his musical resolution until he earns his actual homecoming.
Yeah, Goran's, it's perfect. That's exactly what I was thinking when I was watching this. Obviously, probably, clearly not as articulated as well as that. So, but yeah, and I love that it doesn't have a traditional sweeping string orchestra like as Matt said, your, what is it, sword and sandal epics typically have. It doesn't. It's much more sparse than that. And they used instruments, well, they had to recreate them because people don't really make the 2 flutes and what are they called? The lyres, the lyres? What can I say?
Yeah, I think it's lyres.
Yeah, nobody makes them really anymore. So, but they recreated them for the film to then replicate the sounds in the soundtrack. But it's much sparser, and I think it's much more raw than your typical soundtrack is. And I think it fits the film perfectly. It's probably one of my favorite soundtracks of the year as well. I'm definitely going to be picking this one up. And really just all around, top to bottom, Matt, I really enjoyed the Odyssey. And I'm outside of those kind of minor little things, maybe too, like the editing of it. There's a lot of close-ups of our characters, a lot. And not enough, I think, of our grand surroundings, our sets. I think there's an opportunity, particularly in the IMAX, for these gigantic set pieces that they've created, as well as some of the CGI stuff that I think all works pretty well. But I was curious about that, I guess, because we're focusing in on those characters and giving them their moment. But I don't know if you noticed that. We had a lot of close-ups of people's faces throughout this film. I don't know if, too, if it's because he wants to honor what I would consider to be a stellar cast as well. And there's a lot of big names in this film, but that, and I guess finally the other thing I'd say is I enjoyed with the Cyclops, we have the, I guess we'll say an interpretation of Goya's Saturn devouring his son, that famous painting. But yeah, I don't know, Matt. That's where I'm sitting. I'm giving Odyssey an A.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an A too. I think it's my second A of the year.
What was the other one? Nirvana. I mean, Obsession, I assume?
Yeah, it was Obsession.
So there you go. It's not like I don't have the book right in front of me. Let's see. Backrooms, we gave it B. You gave it A- to Nirvana. That's not too bad.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Good times, folks. If you had a chance to see The Odyssey, it is currently in theaters. It's going to be in a lot of theaters again next week, I can tell you that much. We'd love to hear from you. Shoot us an email at feedback@thefirstrun.com. It's, it's doing big numbers, and I'm happy to see it. I'm curious, Matt, what do you think is going to be released in physical media? Is he going to do the IMAX version, like the 70 mil IMAX version? I really hope he does, instead of like one of the compacted versions or something.
He'll probably, I wouldn't doubt if he'll release both versions.
Good times. All right, folks, let's go ahead and roll on, Matt. What do you want to do first?
Let's do
media? Do you want to Sam Neill?
Let's do the letterbox. Let's get that out of the way, because while it's fresh.
Finish
That's
up. Different. That's usually a final segmenter, but
it is.
Right.
You think so? You want to push it to the end, not when we're talking to Nolan about Nolan?
No, I guess that makes sense.
Okay.
All right. Let's jump into that.
What's your name?
Bill?
Well, Bill, what do you do?
Actually, I'm kind of
Between jobs right now,
Yeah, that's right.
What would you do?
Dunno.
Oh, come on, Bill, don't be coy. There's some burning ambition inside you, isn't there? Something of the starving artist in you, no?
No.
You're a painter.
No.
Photos.
No.
Writer.
No.
Writer, eh?
No.
But you write.
Not much.
But sometimes.
Sometimes he doesn't.
Matt, there's a clip from Following, the only Nolan piece that I had not seen, and I said, you know what, if we're going to do a rank them, I better go ahead, done seen it.
Okay.
So I have.
Okay.
So I can definitely include it. Though it's funny to me, I think we'll both agree as well that will be at the bottom of the list. Have you seen Following?
I have. Yes, I think after I saw Memento, I of course went and found his only other film at the time, and it's definitely I guess what we would call juvenilia in literary terms.
But yeah, it's still enjoyable.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I liked it. But yeah, it's definitely the first film of somebody as well. And it runs about, an hour and 10 minutes. It's currently available on the Criterion channel if you haven't seen it. It is part of the Criterion collection. And also, I think if you have AMC Plus, it's on there as well.
Okay. Yep. Good.
All right, Matt. So I do not know what to do here. What are you thinking then after Following? What is the second least best film of Nolan's over?
So I don't think he doesn't have a bad film, right?
Yeah.
But I think it's going to come down to two flawed films. It's either going to be Tenet or it's going to be The Dark Knight Rises. So it's going to be one of those two. I'm willing to hear arguments. I'm thinking you would probably lean Tenet, and I would be okay with that.
No, I'm going to go with Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
The more I think about that film, the more what I love about it is Tom Hardy's Bane.
Mm-hmm.
And and Hathaway's Catwoman is great too. But as a whole, it's funny too, going through this list, looking at I gave Interstellar 3.5 stars. I think that was a mistake.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That ends up being much higher than on my list than it was when I first kind of saw it, right?
Yeah, right.
So, but I'm okay with The Dark Knight Rises being next, which then means we both think then that Tenet would be next.
Yeah, then I think Tenet would be next.
What are your issues with Tenet? Just too long?
I think it's just
charisma black hole that is.
Yeah, Washington's not doing this thing any favors, right? I mean, our boy Pattinson can only do so much heavy lifting, but I think ultimately, while it's got some really creative, crazy set pieces in it, it just feels a little half baked to me. It's just he hasn't really worked out the full rules of a story like this.
And I don't know if I should have said this ahead of time, but I think we should run down the other films too, right?
Sure.
So we're talking then Memento, Insomnia, Batman Begins, The Prestige, The Dark Knight, Inception, Interstellar, Dunkirk, Oppenheimer, and then, of course, The Odyssey.
Right.
We've already placed the following: Dark Knight Rises and Tenet. So what goes above Tenet then? Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Insomnia.
Yeah. It's actually what I was thinking too.
Okay. So that works for me. And I would also say too, that a lot of people really like the film.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tempted to go Batman Begins next.
Yeah, I would go Batman Begins over what's there too. And again, this is not saying that any of these are really bad films. It's just kind of compared to some of the others that he's had.
So far then, bottoming it out, it's the following, then Dark Knight Rises, Tenet, Insomnia, and then Batman Begins.
Mm-hmm.
So
now we get into the meat here.
Next?
Now we get into the meat.
Yeah, this is tough.
Yeah. Okay, so my gut says it's going to be either Memento or The Prestige.
Okay. I would
go ahead.
That's interesting. I would have Memento and The Prestige much higher.
Okay.
I'm actually leaning towards Inception.
Yeah. See, the rest of his films, those two films are probably what's left here. And I guess maybe Oppenheimer too. They're the tighter films, right? They're not the spectacle films. And there's not...
Yeah.
And while I think they're absolutely great, there are parts of some of these films that I think are some of my favorite scenes ever, right? So I guess I could concede Inception, but I would be surprised that you're going to put Inception below Interstellar. Or below Interstellar.
Yeah, I don't...
But don't get me wrong. I really like the science of Interstellar. I think it's super clever. I like the kind of what he's trying to say with it. I'm just, I'm surprised.
I think that might be it. two things. Yeah, is I'm the big softie, right? It's a great big space movie about love, which I adore that. The special effects are phenomenal. The soundtrack's fantastic. There's so many things I love about Interstellar. In fact, I would probably Interstellar is going to be, I think, like a top 5. For
Okay,
me.
I'm okay with that.
So then, what are we looking at then? What about Dunkirk?
So Dunkirk is hard because I think I've seen it. I saw it when it came out. I think I saw it one more time after that, and I haven't engaged with it since. So it's kind of hard for me to say. I remember there's parts of this I really, really liked, but again, maybe it's less emotional because it's just kind of more of a straight war movie.
So you're comfortable with me putting it where it is there above Inception?
Yeah.
All right, so again, to recap, we're at the following: Dark Knight Rises, Tenet, Insomnia, Batman Begins, Inception, Dunkirk. That leaves us Memento, The Prestige, The Dark Knight, Interstellar, Oppenheimer, and then do we want to place the Odyssey on here, or do we want to sit?
No.
For
I think we're okay with the Odyssey. It's going to be. I think Odyssey is going to be top 3, right? And I think that's okay.
Okay. Now I'm comfortable with Prestige above Dunkirk.
Okay.
But I think what might be an issue here, we'll see what happens next, is what I would do is that I would put Dark Knight next.
Wow, your 1 5-star film in this ranking here is the one you're going to put next there.
That would, that's right now. That's coming in 5th.
Okay.
Like I said, I got to readjust these.
Yeah.
Ratings, but that's where I am right now.
Okay. No, I'm with it.
So then we're left with Memento, Interstellar, Oppenheimer, and the Odyssey.
How do we feel about Oppenheimer?
You're not as big a... What's that?
How do we feel about Oppenheimer? Yeah.
I think it's a fascinating film. But, yeah, I would put that next.
Okay.
I would do that next.
Yeah, that feels right.
So then it leaves Memento, Interstellar, and the Odyssey. Now, for favorite films there...
Yeah.
I remember watching Memento in the movie theater. I was at Cinema City in Hartford. The little, they had 4 screens there, right? And it was like I saw Brick there. I saw Black Dynamite there. I saw so many great films in that little theater. And I just remember being blown away by Memento. Just absolutely fantastic. I think I have a soft spot for it. It's maybe more of a nostalgia thing. I don't know, man. Here's the thing. You asked me on a different day, I could rotate all 3 of these.
Right.
So what are your thoughts?
I don't think Memento is his best film. I think it's really going to come down to Interstellar or the Odyssey for me.
So I'll put it 3rd for you because I love you.
Thank you.
And so then we're looking at Interstellar and the Odyssey. And I think I'm that.
Yeah. I could see that those 2 flip-flopping, possibly. But right now I'm okay with that.
So, what we're sitting with at the moment is the following: The Dark Knight Rises, Tenet, Insomnia, Batman Begins, Inception, Dunkirk, The Prestige, The Dark Knight, Oppenheimer, Memento, Interstellar, and then the Odyssey.
Yeah.
Again, I have Interstellar number 2, and I rated at the time 3.5 stars. But it's a film it's really grown on me over the years. Yeah, I think I'm good with this for now.
Okay.
I think that's good.
I think it's good. Definitive. Publish it.
There you go, folks. So go over to Letterboxd. Looks like I'm here as Chris Scalzo. You can click on the lists here. And then Matt has his own. Just look it up under Thurston, and you will find him. Again, other lists we've done is Edgar Wright. We've ranked them. We've done PTA, the Alien franchise, the Conjuring films. I don't remember that. Ooh, this Marvel MCU thing. That must be need some updating by now.
Yeah.
I'd have to look at that. Especially, maybe we'll come back to it with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Mission Impossible's on there. Friday the 13th films ranked by horniness. I like that one. I did the Fox the Fox X-Men films, ranked all my Bond films, movies that make me cry, and then okay Jaws movies, which is just Jaws 2, and then I have another one where it's just cheesy but fun Jaws movies. I mean, great Jaws movies. It's just the first one.
Sure, that's funny.
Anyway, all right, I'm not gonna. Snyderverse, Halloween, Star Trek.
Wow, I should
Star
check
Wars
those out.
2, of course. There you go, folks. All right, Matt. Physical media time? Okay.
I don't dodge guilt, and I don't chew out of paying my comeuppance.
Can't we just forget the past?
That woman deserves her revenge. And we deserve to die. But then again, so does she. So I guess we'll just see, won't we?
All right, folks. That's clearly your
There can be only one.
number one for this week. Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair is being released in 4K from Lionsgate. Good news, if you're a fan of bad transfers, I'm hearing horrible things about it. After I pre-ordered the Ultimate Deluxe Edition.
Do this to me, man.
I don't know why QT doesn't seem to care about his films in 4K, but who knows? Maybe somebody. It's only a couple reviews of people, so who knows? Maybe it's fine.
Maybe they have like some, incredible like $12,000 TVs, and like it's just not up to snuff for them or something.
Or they got a bad setup, and they're like, "Well, I put it on my Xbox 360, and it looks like crap." So it could be that too. Dolby Vision HDR presentation of the film. You get the Lost Chapter as well. 40 pages. So you could buy the deluxe like I did. 40 page behind the scenes booklet curated by QT. 70 millimeter film still featuring artwork from the film. 5 double-sided collector's cards. Well, you love that. And 2 posters from the theatrical screenings of The Whole Bloody Affair. I am excited to own it though again. So we'll see. And it's a digital copy. And if you're not aware, Lionsgate has joined with Movies Anywhere. So it has started, and all that stuff is starting to port over into the Movies Anywhere platform. So that is cool. Number 5. This is more of a warning. Mortal Kombat 2 is being released in physical media and 4K and Blu-ray. A disappointment. Outside of the katana stuff, I think. I felt basically bait and switched for, what's his name there? For, why am I blanking on my boy's name? Because it's late, Chris. That's why. Johnny Cage, Dredd.
Oh, Carl Urban.
Carl
My
Urban
man.
is in this film, which clearly, after I watched it, was like, oh, he was here for like 4 days. So, anyway. Yeah, there's that.
4.
Pressure is being released. This is the film about the German meteorologist had assumed the invasion wouldn't take place when it did due to the forecast of unfavorable conditions, but the Allies avoided the unexpected gales to successfully carry out the Normandy landings. This is the Brandon Fraser movie where he plays Eisenhower, and they get the nerdy meteorology guy to say, no, you can't go on that day or you're going to lose. And it's a whole basically big drama about weather, which actually was a pretty big deal, actually.
Get 3 coffins ready.
Guy Ritchie's latest film featuring Jake Gyllenhaal, Henry Cavill, Isaac Gonzalez, and Rosamund Pike is being released. It revolves around 2 extraction specialists who have to designate a route of escape for a senior female negotiator. Chris, take your time. Pronounce your words. Enunciate.
Well, you 2 lovebirds take it easy, okay?
Number 2 is A Devil Wears Prada 2. I saw this with Mrs. First Run. She loved the first film. This one, if you're a fan of Devil Wears Prada, I think you're going to enjoy it. And I'll leave it at that. Includes audio commentary, 4 featurettes, and a gag reel. A couple of the things of note. Severin is releasing Threads, the classic BBC pseudo-documentary about what happens in a working-class city of Sheffield after a nuclear holocaust. It is supposed to be terrifying. I have never watched it, but I would like to check it out. It includes a bunch of features, and including some documentaries and audio commentaries. Vinegar Syndrome is releasing a couple standard versions of some of their films, one of them being Macabre. This is the Lamberto Bava film that I enjoyed as a kid. I have not seen it since I think I bought the Anchor Bay DVD like 30 years ago. I did pick up the special edition of this, though, because I am a sucker. They're also putting out The Mangler, the 90s horror film with Robert Englund, directed by Tobe Hooper. A film that I did not find particularly good at the time when I saw it, but they somehow got their hands on the unrated cut of this film and have released it in 4K. Includes a brand new making of documentary, audio commentary. I did pick up that one as well, Matt. It has a limited release. I think it might still be available on the Vinegar Syndrome site and from select retailers. You have a black light, which of course I don't. The cover glows in the dark and makes some weird kind of things and stuff. So you can pick that up there too. And then was there anything else? Oh, Arrow is releasing in 4K. I'm gonna say this one line, and Matt's gonna know what movie it is. It's Made of People.
Oh, really? Soylent Green?
Soylent Green is being released, a brand new 4K restoration from Arrow. Also includes an archival audio commentary as well as a new one and some other features. Arrow is also putting out a Blu-ray of The Outfit. This is a film featuring Robert Duvall as a professional thief. Once upon a time, he and his brother Eddie robbed a bank together. Unfortunately, that bank was owned by a criminal syndicate. So I bought this a while ago, not knowing it was coming out because I'd heard it was really good. And I was on a Duvall kick after he passed away. It was like $5, so I bought it digitally on iTunes. It's like I had like a trip to go on. I was like, oh, I'll put it on my iPad. I'll watch it on the flight. Nope, didn't watch it. And then I think, is this finally? The other two more things. Vinegar Syndrome put out Explorers, the classic 80s film from Joe Dante about the three kids who build the spaceship, go into space and stuff. A movie I loved as a kid. I had picked this up as well a while back. So I'm excited to watch that. And then finally, Arrow is putting out a super duper, a standard version and a big old box set in 4K of Stranger Things. All the seasons with a bunch of featurettes, 25 art cards, 5 double-sided posters, a 148-page book, a whole bunch of stuff in this set. There's a standard edition as well that's not as expensive, but I don't think I'm ever going to revisit the show, man.
I don't either. And I see that I'm going to have Netflix for a while, so I can just go back and look at it that way.
Did you see that they were released or that they incorporated AI in like 300 of their ventures?
No.
Like their products?
I didn't hear that, no.
Yeah, I don't know the detail of how deep it is into it, but that I found less than appealing. All right, let's close up the show, Matt. Let's talk a few minutes about Sam Neill, and let's get out of here.
That doesn't look very scary.
The kid's a pistol.
More like a 6-foot turkey.
A turkey, huh?
Oh, no.
Okay. Try to imagine yourself in the Cretaceous period. You get your first look at this 6-foot turkey as you enter a clearing. He moves like a bird, lightly bobbing his head. And you keep still because you think that maybe his visual acuity is based on movement, like T-Rex, and he'll lose you if you don't move. But no, not Velociraptor. You stare at him, and he just stares right back. And that's when the attack comes, not from the front, but from the side. From the other two raptors, you didn't even know were there.
Everybody's favorite uncle from New Zealand, Sam Neill, passed away. Typically, historically, we would do a little preview in the beginning of the show. In fact, that's what you heard today. The clip from So I Married an Axe Murderer. The woman who played Mike Myers' mom, Mae McKenzie, actually, she just passed away. So we honored her in that way. But I felt like, respectfully, Sam Neill, I don't know, deserved a few more thoughts from us, man. What are your memories of Sam Neill? Is there anything that stood out for you? I think my first experience with him was from that movie, which, of course, we just heard played a clip from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the first time I kind of clocked him, really. But, I mean, thinking about it, I think Hunt for Red October is the first thing I remember him in, and that was before,
good point,
before Jurassic Park, and then he kind of had that brief horror run where he was in the Mouth of Madness and Event Horizon. And then a kind of late career, he was kind of one of those people that would just pop up in things. But I think the most memorable thing I saw of his late career was probably Hunt for the Wilder People.
I was hoping you would mention that. That is a fantastic film.
It is.
And probably, I don't know if it's my favorite performance, but it's certainly one of them. He's just absolutely wonderful. And in that film, that is also wonderful. Lots of W's, lots of wonderfulness in that one. But also for me, yeah, we talked about Jurassic Park there. Matt mentioned a bunch. Mouth of Madness as well. It's a lot of fun. I want to give him his flowers too for stuff like The Final Conflict, where he plays a grown-up Damien. The Antichrist. You can tell he's having a lot of fun in that movie. And then also one of my favorite roles from him is from Possession. The Zaleski film with Isabelle Adjani. He plays Mark, and he's a spy. He comes home and his marriage is falling apart. He has a son. But I don't know if you've ever seen Possession, folks. I watched, again, I think an Anchor Bay DVD of this, in my teens. It was out of print for like the longest time. And Second Sight has released a 4K of it. I just revisited it again this week once he died because I love that film so much. But it's a surreal horror film. It's very weird, very disturbing at times, but it's also, the performances in it are very over the top, very dramatic. It adds like an air of just, how do I put it? Just makes things feel kind of crazy, like the movie could spin out of control at any point. And him and Mark as Mark in that film as well. Well, the film's a Johnny's film. I mean, she is just a runaway train in that movie, but he does his best to keep up there and does a fantastic job. So that's one of my favorites from him. Another one too, his favorite role that he did was in Champions, I should say, The Piano. That was because he felt that was a part in a work of art, and it was the favorite thing that he had ever done. He was proud to have been a part of it. And I unfortunately have not seen it. So I want to remedy that as soon as possible as well. But just Sam Neill, a reliable, fantastic actor who I think just got better as he aged. That Hunt for the Wilder People film, folks, if you have not seen it, yeah, you should definitely check it out. And if you want to feel deeply uncomfortable, track down a copy of Possession and watch that at some point too, but not with the family. So that's that, man. Any other thoughts on Sam?
No, rest in peace, Sam. We appreciate your work, and I think he's got a couple more things coming out.
Yeah, he absolutely does. In fact, one of them was, what was it? I saw he had, it wasn't another Jurassic Park movie, right? It was something else. And I'm like, oh my Lord, he did that? That's coming out? Oh boy. But, all right. Since I can't find it quickly and I don't remember, we're just going to call it. Because that's what we do around here. Matt, what's coming up next week on The Big Show?
What is on the calendar is something called Motor City, starring Jack Reacher himself, Alan Ritchson.
Oh, no, that's wrong.
Okay.
That is not what we're doing.
Okay.
I double-checked it with you. Oh, he's in the new Godzilla movie.
Oh, okay.
Godzilla vs. Kong, or X-Kong Supernova.
Mm-hmm.
So, those are both, and he's with a film called The Last Resort. Those are both in post-production. No, Matt. Oh, no, Matt. You know what we're doing?
What?
Her Private Hell is being released.
Oh, okay.
The latest film from Nicholas Winding Refn. His first film in years. I am very excited about it. I hear from a lot of people that it's dreadful.
Okay.
But a lot of people didn't like Only God Forgives,
mm-hmm.
which is a film I adore.
Right.
So we will find out. In the meantime, you can check us out at thefirstrun.com. You can find archives of all the old shows, the report card, there's a little player there, and more. There's also, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Blue Sky, and Letterboxd. Do a search for The First Run. Eventually you'll find us. Just scroll. And then head over to Apple Podcasts and give us a review to help other people find the show. And then I think, Matt, that's going to be it. I'm very excited that it's your week to edit because it's a long one. Everybody take care of yourselves. We love you all very much. And we'll see you soon.
go to the calendar. It's calendar time. Calendar time for Buddy.